Now the biggest question here is, are we going to get an arc at all? Hey guys, MasakoX here. Now, fusions. Fusions are something that I can't see many downsides to. Certainly not narratively speaking. It's a very cool and symbolic way for two characters to literally work together and create a whole new entity. And really, if you really knock it out of the park, make them a cool character in their own right. Much like with the subject of today's what if / discussion, Vegito. But fortunately, I don't have to worry about spelling, at least saying it, so victory for me. Vegito has had a tumultuous time as of late in the last couple of years. From the days of the Buu saga, he seemed like the ultimate being in Dragon Ball. Goku and Vegeta fused together, two of the most popular characters in the series, and they seemingly have joined forces forever. But then tore asunder inside Buu for reasons that weren't exactly clear at the time of Z's debut. Now though, we got a lot of retcons, which may end the debate about which method of fusion is the quote-unquote best. Is it Gogeta? Is it Vegito? I think the answer might be done now, but I think it's safe to say it's not. But it was a very sad day when we found out the retcon, no matter how much sense it does make, in a way, Mortals don't stay permanent, but what if that whole retcon never happened? What if we got to say no to the idea that mortals couldn't permanently fuse? What if we answered the age-old question about what might have happened had the two strongest Saiyans in Universe 7, and quite frankly in the Dragon Ball, let's be honest, fused together and stayed that way? Now this story has been one that has tested me narratively speaking. For me, this has been challenging because, quite honestly, the ramifications of the scenario at hand. There's a lot you can do here. With Vegito now in the story for the foreseeable future, powers are absolutely over the top. It's not just putting Goku and Vegeta's powers together, combined, it's all multiplied. Like the fusion dance form Gogeta, Vegito is incredible, and we only saw him for a very short amount of time, but what we did see of him stayed with us for a long time, because they had a personality which was unique to them, with traces of their parts thrown in there, but it was someone you could actually identify. It showed what Goku and Vegeta could do together in unison way before we showed up and told them to work together. Seriously, there was no need for those lectures. They were literally working together, as I said. In the last part, we had a bit of a scare when Goku and Vegeta split apart due to the limits of the Potara fusion being tested with the likes of Kaioken Blue. In all the time that Potara earrings had been a thing, there had been really nobody as strong as Vegito that had worn them before, so it would be fair to at least suppose the notion that they had a natural limit, of power output. It actually adds a little bit of peril. Will a certain attack or will a certain move or energy output lead to these two diffusing again? After all, if Vegito had no limits, it would make for a pretty boring story now, wouldn't it? I mean, even if it's Goku and Vegeta fused together, there would be only so much you could do with them. But that being said, there was a spare pair of earrings to be had, and the pair did indeed fuse back, and we went into the Vegito Black arc, which was very short. Yeah, instead of Goku Black alone, it was Vegito, and Trunks would have had no idea about the identity of this man because it was neither Goku or Vegeta, but it was the man who would destroy him. Had he not been able to come back in time and ask for the aid of the past, thinking that Goku and Vegeta would be there, but then after being clued up, he realized, oh, that's the guy. There was no time for that because Vegito Black arrived in the past and, got quickly axed by a final Kamehameha in the face. And hey, Gohan's stronger here too and rocking a very cool beard, I must say. All of this down to the fact that the Vegeta part of Vegito got the job done. Instead of playing around with a new toy in the form of Black and letting Black slip back in time. Black, I mean, not Gohan's beard, so you know. And so we rejoin the story with Vegito, Beerus and Whis going to Universe 10 to investigate the phenomena and who might be involved in the situation of Vegito Black slipping through time. And after tussling for a while, Vegito sussed out that Zamasu had something to do with the arrival of Vegito Black in the past and may have been responsible for the problems that Trunks have had to deal with, and readies a blast in blue, and thanks to you voting, 62% of you agreeing with this, offered their two Zeni and chose for Vegito to aim the final Kamehameha at Zamasu, and see what happens. Well, I mean, what do you expect? If Zamasu could barely handle Super Saiyan 2 Goku, I mean, this is just Goku in the original timeline, then yeah, Zamasu is toast. Goasu is stood there absolutely shocked at what he just witnessed. His apprentice had just been vaporized. And for what reason?
This is madness. Lord Beerus, I know that you have your orders and everything and your own protocols, but what reason do you have to come to my domain, my universe of all things, and wipe out my kind training like that? Explain, please!
Beerus doesn't get in a flap like Goasu is, and merely turns to the Supreme Kai, our own looking away out of sheepishness and not wanting to get involved, and says,
I gave no such order, Goasu. You had better aim your words at the Saiyan over there. I don't take kindly to being accused of things I didn't do.
Goasu then does so, but is now looking more timid given that he'd just seen the strength of this person, this Universe 7 abomination. Mortals in possession of Potara? Shin, what were you thinking? He's thinking. Vegito, though, is actually a little apprehensive himself. That's the Goku side here taking the reins, but he then explains what he had deduced and what he'd actually done and why he did it.
In a future timeline, my son's world was destroyed by a person named Black. I had the pleasure of sparring with him, and despite his power being a joke, your lackey's aura reminded me of that other fool who dared to challenge me. So, simply I put two and two together and, well, you saw what happened.
What are you trying to say, mortal?
I'm saying that this Zamasu had something to do with my son's world being turned upside down. I mean, you should be thanking me. Who knows what he might have done to you?
Goasu is taking this on board, but turns back to Beerus.
You had better come up with some evidence behind this, Lord Beerus, or else I will take this to the Omni King. And you know how much he hates being disturbed with such matters as this. You don't mean that. You're scared of Lord Zeno too. Even I am. Having said that, I'm not really sure that I want to deal with the Grand Minister. He won't be keen to hear of this. So fear not, yes, I'll make sure my pupil finds the evidence that you need. Come along, Saiyan.
And with that, Vegito walks behind Beerus and looks back at Goasu with a thumbs up. Oh dear, Goku, bad call. When travelling back to Universe 7, Beerus looks to Vegito and is stoic.
Well, do you have a plan?
Well, yeah, I guess we do.
What would that be? Because there had better be a plan, Saiyan. I don't want to face the Grand Minister and speak for your behalf, nor do I want to hear about the Omni King.
Vegito is shuffling right now.
Doesn't Trunks' timeline have a Universe 10?
Whis perks up. Well, yes, I suppose so. This Trunks' timeline is like your Universe 7, so it's possible.
Well, that's it. Yeah. All we gotta do is go to the future and look for Zamasu there and get him to fess up.
Beerus already feels like he's gotten way too involved in all of this, and so tells Vegito that it's all up to him. He's up to go drink some earthly drinks and forget about this whole affair. Hopefully the Saiyan will allow him to do so for real, forget about everything. And when they get back, Trunks asks if the deed is done, and his father confirms it. However, there's one more thing that they need to do, and that is to go to the future and find the other Zamasu, if indeed he exists there. Trunks is happy to go back and see Mai once more, as well as his friends and allies for the force that was charged in protecting the remainder of humanity from the perils and dangers of Black, from ending things on the entire planet. With Vegito in tow, and a full tank of fuel from Bulma, allowing them to come back in case things get a little bit hairy and they need to reconsolidate, we get the same situation where Trunks' crew mistake Vegito for Vegito Black, that whole thing, that happens, but the key difference here is that there is no Vegito Black to greet the Saiyans. Black is no more, remember? For now, the world can breathe a sigh of relief. They've got a bit of a reprieve here. Trunks tells his allies that Black is indeed gone, but there may be one thing more that they have to stop, and that is Zamasu. When asked when this Zamasu would strike, it's hard to say. However, this buys the group some time to get to safety and away from the city. With nothing left after Bulma being evaporated, the humans then make for the outer regions of the area. They don't need to be in the city anymore because there's practically nothing left. and they can go safely into the mountains thanks to the powers of Vegito's instant transmission. They could just go and hide. Once the last of the civilians has left, the gang then weigh up their options. Do they then, wait for Zamasu to come to them, or do they go out to him? Well, they don't need to worry about that. Zamasu has arrived because nothing's going down on Earth, and he's just thinking what's going on. I saw what you were doing, but something troubles me. Where is the one called Black? Answer me, mortals. He's gone, creep, Trunks proudly shouts. Zamasu is shocked. What is this mortal on about? He tries to sense for his comrade, thinking that this is just a trick. Nothing. Zamasu is getting visibly flustered. What?
Where is he? Where are you hiding him? Where is Black?
Vegito teleports up to Zamasu.
Are you deaf, punk? He's been destroyed. By me.
Whoa! Zamasu is then sent flying to the ground by a roundhouse kick from Vegito, naturally wanting to make an impression. Trunks is stunned by the speed of Vegito in purely his base form. Wow, that felt good. Zamasu gets up, looking a little dirty and quite livid. My plan. My ultimate plan. It's over! He punches the ground in frustration. Vegito's ears perk up and he lands next to Zamasu.
Plan, you say? What plan was this? You may as well be of some use before I destroy you like I did your past self.
Zamasu looks up and then understands. I see. So you pulled a stunt like Trunks over there, messing with the past? Oh dear. I can relate, mortal. You see. And so Zamasu then recalls his plan like he did in Super Episode 61, I think? Because it's pretty much failed, the Zero Mortal plan can't go as it was intended, with no Black around to fuse with. And when done, Vegito nods in satisfaction.
I knew my intuition was correct. You're scum through and through, in one reality and the next. You know what happens to scum around me?
Vegito fires a spirit sword into Zamasu's chest, which connects. Vegito thinks that he has done the deed, but weren't you paying attention, mortal? I am immortal. What? My plan may be a lost cause, but I'm not. The Kai in waiting steps out of the way of the sword, not really bothered about what happens to his body. The wound heals up almost at once. Vegito is looking surprised.
Okay, that's new. I've never been around a bad guy who's actually gotten immortality before. They keep saying that they want it, but they never get it. This should be interesting.
Trunks is a little concerned now that Vegito isn't taking this seriously, nor is he standing down or giving up. I mean, the guy is immortal. He can't be stopped. Why even try? In fact, this guy is actually worse than Black. They've just made things worse. It's just Black, period. Vegito then proceeds to power up to Super Saiyan 2 and consistently beats up Zamasu to the point of passing. But, as I just said, the punk just keeps regenerating. Don't you tire, mortal. You can't keep this up forever. Whereas I can, because I'm immortal! Ah! Zamasu is punched for miles by an aggravated Vegito.
I heard. Don't care. Trunks, we better get back to the past and think of a new plan. Bring your girlfriend with you.
Trunks blushes like crazy, as does Mai. But with the people safe away from here, so that means Zamasu can't find them, he can quickly take out the capsule with the time machine and the group travel back successfully. Seconds later though, Zamasu returns to see nothing. He screams to the heavens, cursing these mortals. With the arrival of the time machine back in the past, Beerus's ears perk up and Vegito relays to him and Whis that their suspicions were correct. Zamasu was responsible for the future being destroyed. Everything was wiped out in that reality. Kais, GODs, everybody except for a few Earthlings. That world was the last hope for mortals there. Beerus nods and tells Whis to go to tell Goasu the information. Well, well, Saiyan. You actually came through, and I didn't even have to lift a finger. Not bad, but it's not over yet, quite clearly. Beerus is right. The thing isn't over yet. They still need to deal with the fact that Zamasu is immortal. Well, I think you know where this is going. Vegito goes to Roshi and demands for him to teach both he and Trunks the Mafuba, or Evil Containment Wave. Wait, Masako, why Trunks too? Well, again, this is the Vegeta talking, and since Trunks did learn the Mafuba anyway, you may as well just, try and just condense this to make it a little bit more snappy. It's clear that over the years, Vegeta's essence has ruled the roost in Vegeta's body, as his logic has been able to convince Goku's happy-go-lucky instinct to roll with the punches a little more, because, hey, it means for a good fight. And at the end of the day, you know, it's interesting to think how fusions work in a way, isn't it? Whatever the case, it takes them a few days, but they get it down, and this time, they remember to take the talisman, since Trunks is there to make sure that they don't forget. In fact, Vegito almost forgets, but Trunks goes, wait, don't we need this too? Dad? This catches Vegito's attention. This is the first time that Trunks has actually called him Dad, and the Vegeta inside of him has acknowledged this. Yeah, you don't kind of forget that, or whatever thing was associated with it. And so, it's time for the gang, this time accompanied by a few sensu beans just in case for the ride over. And they gotta go and do the deed. That's where we're going to be leaving things for right now. Except right after the next poll. Here's a simple one. Does the Muffler work? Pretty obvious what the outcomes would be if it does or it doesn't. I'm leaving this one up to you, as whichever choice that you go with is going to cause major ramifications whatever happens. So, thank you for voting. So what do you guys think? Do you like the streamlined Black arc? Is Vegito handling the situation like you thought he would? Leave a comment below and let's get this discussion going. And I shall see you in the next video. Catch you later!